Hello Flosstube! This is Natalia at Official Mermaids Cove. I'm doing my second video. Today is Sunday, February 25th, and I want to go over some finishes that I have, the progress I've gotten on some of my whips, some new starts I have, what I've purchased in the past few weeks, and maybe go through some plans for how I'm going to end up the month. First, I want to say thank you for everyone who has watched my first video. I really appreciate it. It's so funny. It's how even just one person just getting the notification that, hey, somebody's watched your video, they've subscribed. It's I'm sure other people who've recorded videos can understand that feeling, but I'm really happy that you come to join me. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with some of the things that I've finished this month. I was working on this, and I remember mentioning that I was going to try and finish a lot of the other block letters with beads. I've done that. This is Yippee Ki Yay from Stitchman Darcy. I already did this pattern on the same fabric. This is 14 count Starlight. It's a DMC fabric, and it has gold metallic thread in it. So it's very sparkly. I really like how the letters turned out. These were beads that I got, I think I got them at Hobby Lobby. And they're glass check beads. They look really nice. I got 4 different colors. The white, the red, and then 2 different greens, so I could try to match the pattern as much as possible. I did the blue and some old beads that I had left over from way back when. I think I bought them at Walmart. They're not as regular as the check glass beads are, but I think for the snowflakes they worked out. And then I also did the border, the triangle border, and the green and red beads. So I'm really happy with that. It's very sparkly. I really like how I feel like it was a good call to use the a better quality bead for the letters because they look very uniform, and they almost, I was a little concerned that the beads would be a little small, but they actually filled out the block really nicely on the 14 count. So there's my finish. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna fully finish it later. The next finish I have is from my Flower Fairy series. There are these kits that my sister found for me when she was thrifting. I guess they used to be available at Walmart. The copyright date is like back in 1997, so I don't know how long ago they stopped sorting those. But this is the 5506 Wood-Sorrel Fairy kit, and I have finished her. I added this kind of cursive script at the top just to label all of them. I'm going to see if maybe after I'm done, maybe my sister can help me figure out, we can put our heads together and get a creative finish together to put all of them into one finish. This one didn't actually have a lot of stitching. I think it was a good first one for me to focus on a finish for. I love her little wings. It's got iridescent opalescent floss. She's so sweet. So I finished her. And the next finish I had was another Flower Fairy. These stitch up pretty quickly. This one actually had some new stitches that I had never tried before because they do have embroidery stitches in these kits. And they give you instructions. It had turkey stitches in the center of these flowers. I feel like I've done Lazy Daisy before, but I haven't done turkey stitches. And this is the 5507 Stitchwort Fairy kit. And here is my finish. For this one, I also stitched the name up here at the top. Just look at her wings. She also had that iridescent thread there. These actually give you like a lot of room to make your own personalizations to them. You notice here in her headband they only had like a couple of loops, and there's some other areas where maybe they didn't put as many. You know, I just noticed something. I think I forgot to do the lazy daisies. I did everything else but the lazy daisies. I'm gonna have to go back, you see right here, and do that. I just noticed that. Okay, so hopefully by the end of this month, I'll completely finish this one. But she looks so pretty. But yeah, I think my little turkey stitches turned out pretty good. I didn't want to trim them down too much, because the way these work is you make loops, and then you trim them down to, like, make your little pile. But they're so fluffy. And you can tell, like, I started off here and worked my way this way, and I feel like this one definitely looks a lot better than the one I started with. But she's will be done, hopefully at the end of the month. I gotta go back and do those lazy daisies. Okay, the next one, hopefully this one is actually done, is the 5510 Forget-Me-Not Fairy kit. I have finished her, except I haven't put in the lettering yet. I want to put in the lettering up here with the name of the fairy in cursive like I did with the other ones. I'll probably knock that out one day at work on my lunch break. But she's done. This one had the most stitches. I think I ran out of the yellow. They have like yellow floss that is blended. Like almost the entirety of this background section is blended stitching. And a lot of it includes that yellow, and I completely ran out of it. So I don't know if that was just, there wasn't enough in the kit, or maybe I just wasn't, I thought it was stitching pretty neatly, but, so I had to come and substitute another yellow. I think it works out with all the different colors that are in the background. But if you look closer, all this is cross-stitch. She was the first fairy I was working on that actually had gold metallic thread for her wings instead of the opalescent thread. It looks so pretty. It's so sparkly. You can like see it from across the room. It's so glittery. Look at that. Ah, I love it. She has French knots in her dress. This was the first one where they didn't actually have you fully stitch the dress. But I did do a bunch of those French knots. And then you have a lot of the straight stitching here for the stems of the plants behind her. And you had some light back stitching here on the stems. And then if you look closely, it has you do different blues for the forget-me-not flowers, and then you have French knots for some of the buds and the centers of those flowers. But it looks so pretty. I love how sparkly the wings look at the end. So yeah, I'll definitely have to talk to my sister about maybe coming up with a good way to finish these all together. I have 8 total, so maybe some kind of quilt, or I don't know, we'll come up with something. Feel free to give me your ideas in the comments. So those were all my FOs, finished objects. Now I'm going to go through the progress I got on my whips. So I pulled this out. I got this as a thrifted find at one of the, if you've ever been to Nashville, there's a good craft thrift store called Smart Art Supplies. I highly recommend it. It's on Music Valley Drive, really close to like where Aubrey Mills is and everything. It's really easy to get to. I found this, and when I got this, it did come already pre-started with the fabric. It did not have any threads, so I did have to source my own threads. This does use GMC, and they also have anchor threads. I'm not sure which originally came with the kit, but I have DMC, so I went through my stash and sourced the threads with DMC. This is Sky Hunter by Luce, and I guess it came from Color Charts. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that company. So this is where it's at. A lot of this was already stitched. I think like the torso was already done. A lot of down here was already done. I had to come in and start filling in some of these sections. And I had to fill in some areas here on the clouds. Some of this is not as charted, but I didn't want to have to unpick everything, and they are, I mean, it's pretty irregular shapes. They're supposed to be bison-shaped clouds. So I got some recommendations from some crafty people that I have at work, and they said that, yeah, they think I could just leave it. So I've been slowly making my way down to try to work on, find the bottom of this. It is stitched on 14 count. Ada, I'm not sure what fabric. Let me see if the pattern actually says what this is called for. It says it's stitched on Charles Craft 14 count blue Delft Ada. Three strands of floss for back stitches. I don't think I've done any back stitching yet, but I'll have to keep that in mind. So we're down here. I work on it every now and then. I don't really keep track of the stitch count because it is a paper pattern, and it's kind of, I have a pretty good history of taking paper patterns and putting them into Pattern Keeper. I do that with my Mirabilias. Unfortunately, this one is a little worse for wear, so I don't think I would have much success doing that with these. Let's sit up here for a second. But I'm working on this. My husband really liked it, so when I finish it, I'll be giving it to him. It still has some alder clouds that are supposed to go back here. There's a really big rock that he's standing on, and there's some greenery over here. So this isn't anything I'm focused on a finish for, but eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to finish that up for him. The next whip I have to show you is my Gecko Rouge kits. This is Yin Yang Dragons by Jonas Jodicke. I'm not sure. I might have just butchered his last name. This is a Gecko Rouge kit. It came with all the floss and the fabric. I got a good amount of stitching on this one. I had wanted to get to 30%, and that's where I'm at so far. This is a focus for a finish for me for this year. I had started doing parking up here, and I guess it was a good experience. I mean, I could definitely feel, maybe it doesn't seem as bulky up here versus when I transitioned to tent stitching, but honestly, I just prefer doing cross country. And I've started doing that. I've been getting a lot more progress that way. I started doing like the most of the colors, which is really helpful when I work with my full coverage cross stitch, because that way I can start, if I do the most of the largest colors first with the largest stitch count, then I can use that to reference doing, you know, some of the other stitches, and it helps me, you know, hopefully not make as many mistakes. But hopefully you'll see a lot of progress from last time. I got a lot of colors in the face of the right dragon. I really got some outline on the spikes here, and then a lot of the body down here has been outlined, so it's really outlined this neck. I think there are supposed to be some lighter colors coming in, so then I'll probably get more work done on this one. But I really like how it's coming in. I love the detail. I'm telling you, I love Gecko Rouge and how they chart their kits. You can see the spirals on the horns for this dragon already, and just the detail in the fins. You know, it's sometimes hard to tell, but even if you look at the mock-up, like this is, it looks like the mock-up. You know, you're starting to see a lot of the shading. And sometimes, I don't know, I feel like we've all seen those stories for some of the bigger full coverage kits that unfortunately the results that you hope to see you don't end up getting. But I've never been disappointed by any of the Gecko Rouge kits so far. So that's where I'm at with this. Hopefully I'm going to finish it this year. I had started this as an anniversary piece for me and my husband, and I was going to put our wedding details here in the center. So we'll see how far I get with that. The next one I have to show you is my biggest kit that I've worked on in my entire history of cross-stitching. I finished the Epic Pokemon cross-stitch Generation 1, and that was like over 100,000 stitches. This is over 224,000 stitches. But I really like working on it. This is Dracarys by Dailen Ogden. Dailen Ogden and Jonas Jodicke. They both have Instagram accounts. I highly recommend that you follow them. They have beautiful artwork. And these are both, I didn't mention it, these are both stitched on 28 count easy. Well, I don't know if it's easy count. I can't remember which one's the difference. On Gecko Rouge's website, it says 28 count gridded even weave. That's what they have it listed as. So that's what it will look like when it's finished. Sorry for the glare. Yeah, that's better. It has Daenerys with her 3 dragons. I didn't take this one out of the Q-snaps. This is the only one because it's so big and trying to wrangle all the fabric back in is kind of a chore. But this is where I am. I got a lot of work done. I think I have over 3,000 stitches for this month. I'll give you all my stitch count numbers when I do my monthly update at the end of the month, probably on Friday. I got a lot of work done. I'm trying to fill in the outer border of this flame circle with the flame motifs. There's this background color of pink that's solid stitch that's given me a lot of progress on this, and it's really nice to work on when I don't feel like, you know, doing a ton of counting or a ton of switching colors. I also got some work done on this fill-in for the face of the first dragon, and I think the next few colors, when I'm not working on this, is going to be either working on him or working more on getting the outer rim done. But yeah, it's coming along. I was talking to my husband about it last night, and it's like, this is the halfway point. So if I complete everything down to this line up, that's only 50% of the pattern. I'm not quite at 60,000 stitches total for this project, so I still got a ways to go. But I am hoping to get more progress on this year as well. So that's everything that I had showed you in the last video that I'd worked on. I started some new things, so these are some of my new starts. This is what I started for the Lunar New Year, and this year is, I think, the Year of the Dragon, yeah. So on this fabric, I started The Beauty and the Beast by Autumn Lane Stitchery. It's stitched on 18 count Ada. I self-dyed it. I think I did this one with my sister, maybe. It's like, the background is dark gray, and then you have a lot of these like multicolored Ouroboros. I feel like that was not the right thing, but you know what I mean, kind of like the multicolored rainbowy colors in the background. I started on part of the dragon because it was close to the center, and then this is the mermaid's body. You can see her arms coming out here, and then the dragon will kind of be like twisted around her. Her tail will come down here. I'll probably start working towards my way towards the bottom and then work my way up to get to the faces and the dragon's face. So far it's coming along great. I love how they do their charting. It's very easy to follow along, very easy for counting. And the colors that Aaron picks on his designs are just, they work so well together. This is a really small count fabric. I'm gonna have to look through my bead stash to see if I can find some small beads she does have some beading. This is like my first, well, that's not a Sal, right? The Dark Queens have a lot of beading on them. But this is one of my first of their standard mermaids that has beads on them. She has like strands of pearl beads twisted around her tail. So I'll have to try to make sure that I find some beads small enough to where they won't be too crowded on this fabric. But I'm happy with my start. This is how much I wanted to do. I think this is a little over 1,500 stitches. So it's a decent start. I'm looking forward to working on that some more. And that was The Beauty and the Beast by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I have finished all my goals that I had for this month as far as the progress that I got on my projects. And I've started seeing people talking about wanting to do a leap year start on leap day. So I've actually already had this kind of kitted up. I had cut the fabric. I got this fabric at Smart. It was like a linen. I don't know if it was a bed sheet or a tablecloth or something. I could probably undo the stitching to get more fabric out of it, but I just straight cut it, and I wasn't sure if it was gonna be like actual straight for the stitching. So I actually did do like a outline grid, and it is gonna be enough, and I do have enough border. It's not straight completely though, you can see here. the line of the stitching for the border is going like diagonally this way, and then my gridded is going straight like that. So I'm glad I did that. But there's going to be enough room. I think I wanted the orientation to go like this. I had posted about it on Instagram. Nobody really took any guesses to what was going to be on this so far. But I'm actually planning on starting Mirabilia's Nightingale. I kind of want to orient it like this, and then maybe have our lantern closer to this lighter spot. I ice-dyed this. So it originally was either a light cream or beige color, maybe even, I don't think it was white. I think it was a beige color. I ice-dyed it with black and red. Yeah, I think it was red dye too. The powder dyes. I came out with this. And I thought it would be, I think her colors would stand out well on this, especially like the blues would contrast well. I'm hoping. I think it'll look good. I measured this. It says it's supposed to be actually closer to a 28 count, which I was surprised. I thought it would be closer to maybe 32 or even 36, so I was a little concerned about the beads crowding, but this is actually measuring out when it's stretched to be closer to 28, so I might not have any problems. Maybe a little smaller than 28, maybe 29, 30, but it's actually pretty close. So we'll see what this looks like when I start stitching on it. This is very see-through. I don't know if you can tell. It's a very thin, very sheer fabric, so I'll definitely have to use a Q-snap or a hoop to stitch on this. But yeah, so I'll be starting this for my leap year start. I have, this was a planned start for this year, but I didn't know when I was going to start it, and I figured it's a good opportunity to do it. I already have a lot of the colors kitted up. I have the water lilies and the 2 called for Critic threads. I actually prefer using Critic as opposed to using the Petite Treasure braid. I know people like using the number 4 braid, and I guess that's what I bought this time around, but I actually like using number 8 braid because then you just have to do 1/1 Critic on 28 count. But it's actually not too bad, I found, compared to working with some of the other metallics. Even Petite Treasure braid can get a little finicky. But you know, all those tips that people give you online about making sure that you stitch, you know, with shorter links and stuff, that's usually been pretty helpful for me. Maybe when I'm stitching on this, I'll do a few stitch with me videos to show you how I usually work with it when I get to that point. But that's where I am for that. So hopefully I'll post some progress on Instagram about my start once we get there on Thursday. I didn't have many purchases this week. There's a new craft store that's opened up near me, and I went by there with my husband. I found this stitch frame there. I haven't tried using it. These say they're Q-snap brand clamps, so maybe somebody just adopted this. I haven't had the best success with roller frames. I actually do prefer working in Q-snaps, but we'll see how this works. I'm hoping to use this for this kit. I had a different roller frame I was using to kind of hold it steady, and it wasn't working too well. This fabric kept sliding in between it. It's really thin. It's not cross-stitch fabric. It's like usually fabric that you would use for freehand embroidery with just the printed stitches on it. So I'm hoping this will help with that. We'll see. I'll let you know. The other things I found there. So I'm going to be going to, sorry for the crinkles. I'm going to be going to a stitching retreat. And I've been thinking about things that I can make as table gifts. And I'm hoping to make maybe some scissor fobs or thread bowls. So at the thrift store they had things like these. They had some really nice sequins. So I found a lot of the shell ones. How would you have guessed that I was drawn to the under the sea? They had some mermaids. That is so cute. So I'm thinking maybe I can like hook them with some loops and make some cute keychains or something. These are sea stars, different color seashell. These look like SpongeBob flowers. You know, the ones that they have in the background all the time. These are mermaid tails. I guess, well, there's not a mermaid on the other ends. Maybe they're just fish tails, but I see them and I think of mermaid tails. Different colors. And I also found these beads. They are bead treasures. They said they're Miyuki. So, nice high quality beads. These are silver line, dark topaz, and these are... it just has a number. Code. Number 401FR. So I was happy to find those. And I also got some chain. I don't know that I'll be using this. Well, I'll have to look. I'll have to look at what links I have. I have some jewelry supplies already. So if it coordinates with this color, I might use it for some of these. If not, I might use it for something different. We'll see. But those are all my purchases so far since the last time I filmed a video. Plans. I think I already said... I think I pretty much told you what I had planned so far was to start, you know, my Mirabilia. I'm thinking about some other videos that I can film. I know I said I'm probably not planning on doing a whip parade until later on in the year, maybe, well, I guess it would be next month, but I don't know when next month. I'm gonna see if I can do maybe quarterly whip parades to show you a lot of stuff that I'm not currently working on. Right now, I'm like, with the finishes, I'm somewhere around 15 whips. I definitely haven't shown you all the whips that I have so far. There's definitely more things that I've just either started during Christmas or don't work on all the time. That is definitely higher than I would typically like my whip count to be. Hopefully when I start finishing some of those smaller projects like the flower fairies and the things I started for Christmas, that'll go down some and I can focus more on my bigger projects. Shoutouts. I watched some Flosstubers this... I don't know. I watch Flosstube sporadically. Sometimes I watch it at work, sometimes I watch it at home. I haven't had a bunch of time just to watch all of the people I usually do. But I always watch Stitchwort does video, Danielle. She is so entertaining. Even when she wasn't doing cross stitch, I love watching her videos. So I would definitely recommend her. I'll try to make sure that I link all of these. I'll have to make a note to link all of these in the description. Other people I've been watching, Emily C recently made a video going through some of her whips. She gave us an update on Buster. I'm glad he's doing better. Her kitty cat had to go in for some surgery and they had to remove some things. But she said he seems like he's doing good and they've been monitoring him. So I'm glad that your kitty's doing well, Emily. I've also been watching Teresa Little Stitcher's videos. She did a Stitch With Me video recently. And she's another one of those Flosstube. I think I've watched all the videos that she's had since she's... It was that period of when I first encountered Flosstube where if I found your channel and I liked your videos, I went all the way to the beginning and watched everything. Teresa Little Stitcher is one of those people. She's very entertaining as well. She's working on a lot of cool things. In her Stitch With Me, the last one I watched, she was working on a lung dog stampler with some beautiful hand-dyed silk, I think, from Silks For You. I think that's where she said that came from. And Teresa's just so real. Because in the middle of stitching, she realized she had made a counting mistake somewhere. And then we just had to go along for the ride to like see how she figured it out. And to be honest, I feel like when I make those types of mistakes, she figured it out faster than I would have. It's one of those things, right? Those headaches that we all have. I had seen a... Oh goodness, I feel like I really should do a better job writing all this stuff down. But Ellie Welly Stitcher, she mentioned she really recently lost her puppy Prince. Oh, you know, anybody with pets, like, you're never prepared. They're part of the family. You're never prepared to lose them. I lost my puppy Gigi. And she wasn't a puppy. I mean, she was 15 years old. But they're all our puppies, right? They're all our fur babies. I lost her last April. We're going to be going on 1 year. She was 15. She was like a few weeks from being 16 years old. I knew that puppy for most of my life. I miss her. She was my stitching pup. Me and my husband recently adopted we rescued a puppy in December. Her name's Joy. She's a real sweetheart, but she's a little skittish. So she hasn't quite gotten to the point where she's super snuggly. She likes to be like, she's definitely gotten more comfortable with me and my husband since when we first adopted her, but she's definitely just likes to be in a corner of the couch, just using on a blanket. She doesn't really cuddle up next to you. Except my husband. Sometimes she'll yip at him to like get him to pick her up so that he'll sit with her when he's on his computer or something. So we'll see. But my heart goes out to you. I'm sending you virtual hugs. It's not easy. And you'll notice, I noticed, you know, it's a punch in the gut and then you feel like you don't know what to do, and then slowly but surely you'll start missing little things. So it's going to be, you know, grief is a process. So go over to her channel, show her some love, you know, send her well wishes. She's going through it. I had some questions. I didn't get any questions in my comments from my last video, but I had some questions for you. I'm trying to plan for the Stitchy retreat. It's the first cross-stitch retreat I've ever gone to. So I don't necessarily have a lot of experience planning trips. I know me and my husband were planning on driving down, but I'm not sure when. And I'm trying to figure out how much I should stock up on to do some cross-stitch shopping. A lot of the shopping I usually do is thrifting, and I know that when we go down there we're probably going to do more substantial, like I'm hoping we'll maybe go to a few cross-stitch stores, and so I'm not sure how much money to save up, or in general, like how much to... So when you're planning your traveling, this is my question, when you're planning your traveling, how do you plan on how much you budget for like meals, or if it is a cross-stitch trip, how much do you usually budget for purchases? I'm a budgeter. I do not just go in and just spend all this kind of money. I limit it. I set a limit. I save up that amount so that by the time I get there, I know how much I have to spend. So if you don't want to give me like amounts that you spend in past retreats, that's fine. If you give me any general advice on how you plan trips and how much you budget or think you allocate for food spending or things like that, that would be helpful. Anyway, other than that, thank you for everybody who watched the first video. I tried to make sure I didn't make this one quite as long. The first one was a little bit of a hassle to upload, so I'm going to try to do maybe 30-minute videos here on out. I hoped you liked everything I have to show. If there's anything else that you're interested in, I think I might do a short video on how I beaded my Yippee Ki Yay stitch. I had a lot of fun doing that, and I tried some new things to make it a little easier on me. I might do a shorter video covering that and some of the short tricks that I found that helped me. I did stitch this in hand. It was on, 14 count Ada, so it was pretty easy, and the, fabric had enough structure to it. So I'll probably do a shorter video on that. If you have any ideas for any future videos, pop it down in the comments below, and I'll try and get some time to put those in. But thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your month. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on starting any leap day starts. I'm excited to see what everybody ends up working on that day. And I hope you have a good rest of your day and you get all the time that you want for stitching. Bye bye!